Hello, my name is Barbara Leland, and I'm a certified holistic health coach in Huntington Beach, and I do the healthy eating classes here at Hoag Cancer Center. So welcome to spring, and we have a lot more daylight hours, and we need more energy to keep up with that daylight, don't we? So today we're going to talk about how we can put a little spring in our step. Do you know what drains your battery? What makes you tired? Of course there's certain things that you know, but do you ever track when you're feeling low, what has caused it? This is a little chart that you can use. You can print it from your screen, or you can give me a call and I can send it over to you if you like. And this is a way to track things that, this is a week's worth of items that you can track and see how you're feeling and what has caused you to feel that way. Now, I love to track. I think it's the only way to really figure out what's going on in your daily and weekly and monthly life and what causes what. But I know some people don't like it too much, so this is just a week's worth. So it's not a lifetime, it's just a week's worth. And here's an example of what you might be putting in. So let's say we're starting on Saturday, and we felt great. And our mental attitude was we really felt great until about after dinner. We slept good the night before, so the sleep you track is what you did the night before. And wait a minute, what did we have for dinner? Pasta bolognese, wine, and dessert. Sounds delicious, but I didn't feel too good after dinner, it says. Also, I had a nice walk at the beach for 45 minutes because I was high energy today. But that pasta bolognese and wine and dessert kind of put me out after dinner. So that's not such a bad thing. I was going to bed anyway, so what? Well, the next day, on Sunday, I was kind of meh. I was low energy. And the low energy has to do with the fact that I only slept 6 hours. And by the way, you can track, if you have a Fitbit, on the app, you can track how many hours of sleep you're getting. It'll track it for you, and you can check every morning. So I only slept 6 hours, and I had really low energy. I did eat well, and I did go for a walk, not quite as much as the day before, but I did have low energy. And do you think that might have something to do with the dinner I had the night before? Not only was I not sleeping well because I was digesting, but also the wine, right? So on Monday, I had a phone call with a really negative person in the morning, and then I only slept 6.5 hours. I did have a nap in the afternoon because if you look over at medication and treatments, you see that there was chemo that day. So that put a nap in the afternoon on the list. And then also because my energy was so low that day, I had some sugar. I had a sweet snack in the afternoon, and I didn't have any exercise. Well, look at how I felt on Tuesday. I didn't feel so great, because of what had happened the day before. I didn't sleep well, but I did eat very light, just fruit, and I didn't have any exercise. But on Wednesday, I felt like $1,000,000. I dealt with a hard situation, but I dealt with it, and I'm feeling better. I slept 9 hours. That's great. I ate light, but I added more protein, and I had 2 walks, one in the morning and one in the evening. Thursday was dynamite. I felt great. 8 hours sleep, protein and veggies for food, fruits and whole grains. I walked 45 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the evening, and I walked in the park, which really gives you even more oxygen and good for your physical and good for your soul. And then on Friday, again, I felt great. After eating so well and getting exercise, I was high energy, good mood, slept well, no sugar, and I walked 45 minutes in the morning and 20 in the evening. So you can see on this chart, and if you just do this for a week, you're going to see how your energy goes up and goes down, goes up and goes down. And why? Why does it do that? What you'd like to see is a happy face all the way down. Maybe that's not realistic all the time, but that's what we're shooting for, right? So the things that drain our energy are inactivity, poor diet, no sleep, and stress. Really, those things really play havoc. Of course, you have to take into account if you have any illness, if you have any medications, things like that. But these things are things that we can control. So let's talk about the foods that drain your energy. Let's say it's, again, Saturday night, and we're talking about that pasta bolognese. This is a little different dish, but it's Saturday night. We want some pasta, right? Well, pasta is refined carbohydrates, and we've talked about this before with refined carbohydrates, how it causes a spike in your blood sugar, and then, of course, you have a drop afterwards. When your blood sugar spikes, it's what goes up must come down. You're left feeling tired. Also, pasta, the wheat in the pasta, the refined wheat, the refined flour can leave you bloated, and that can cause digestive issues. That might disturb your sleep because of the digestion. And you're saying, but wait a minute, you know, in Italy, they eat pasta all the time and there's no problem, right? Or we don't know that there's any problem. Think about our portion size in America when we go out to dinner and order a bowl of pasta. We get a plate that is huge. That's not how it was intended. Pasta was one of the dishes that would be served, but it wasn't a huge dish. So portion size plays a big part in how the carbohydrates affect us. Then we're going to add some meatballs on top. And, you know, you're saying, wait a minute, that's red meat. That contains iron, and doesn't iron give you good energy? Yes, it does. But not only does it contain iron, it's also high in fat. Fats are difficult to digest. It takes about 8 hours to digest meat. And that uses more energy, and that leaves you feeling tired. You know, you get that full digesting feeling, and you're just like, ugh. Then we have some wine, because of course, you know, you're going to have some pasta with some red sauce. You're going to have some wine, right? Well, wine, that'll make you tired in itself, because it has a sedative effect, and that helps you relax and makes you drowsy. But that you're saying, well, you know, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to bed anyway pretty soon. What's the difference? Because that sedative effect only lasts for the first part of your sleep. The alcohol, what happens is as it goes through your system, it disrupts the restorative sleep, the REM, rapid eye movement, and you end up with less energy the next day. And then, of course, let's see, pasta, meatballs, red wine, garlic bread, right? Perfect addition, but not really. There, again, we're talking about refined carbs, so we're having the same situation with the blood sugar spike and crash. And then the fat will make it hard to digest, just like it was with the meat, and you're going to have a less restful sleep and consequently less energy the next day. When you're tracking for a week how your energy goes and you see what you ate the night before, you're going to see how it affects you. And then how about a nice piece of chocolate cake to round out our dinner out, or maybe our special dinner at home? Well, the caffeine in chocolate could affect your sleep. For example, a 3.5 bar of dark chocolate has about the same caffeine as a cup of coffee, which is about 80 to 100 milligrams. But dark chocolate also has antioxidants that increase our serotonin, that decreases our cortisol levels. So that's not all bad. The dark chocolate is really not a bad thing. What it is the sugar that you add to the dark chocolate to make it palatable. And then if you're going to make, and the sugar, of course, is a simple carb, and then if you're going to make a cake, you're going to use most likely white flour, again, a simple carb. So you're adding sugar and white flour into this beautiful dark chocolate, and you're setting up your blood sugar levels to rise. Your insulin's going to go up going to be released, and you're going to crash afterwards. So it's very stimulating because you're getting ready to release all that energy from the insulin, but you're going to crash afterwards. So lights out. You know, you have this dinner and then good night. And again, you're saying that's not so bad. But as I was saying, it's not for long. You're going to be waking up, tossing and turning. You're not going to sleep well after this kind of meal, right? So, okay, so I'm not going to have spaghetti and meatballs and red wine and garlic bread and chocolate cake. Is this what I'm going to do to have more energy? Is this my solution? I'm going to have a piece of lettuce and a tomato. It doesn't have to be that way. So instead of having this, try this. So here we're having pasta, but the pasta that we're having in this dish is a whole grain pasta, and there's so many of them. There's a brown rice and quinoa pasta at Trader Joe's that cooks up really nice, very much like white pasta. There's a lentil pasta, a red lentil pasta at Trader Joe's also. Sprouts has red lentil pasta. They have garbanzo pasta. They have brown rice pasta. They have whole wheat pasta. Any of those are going to be better for you than the white pasta. Not only that, you see, before we had a big plate of pasta that we put some meatballs on top. Now we have a big plate of vegetables and garbanzos, and we've added some pasta to it. So we're having a much smaller amount of pasta. Even though it's whole grain pasta, we're still having a much smaller amount of pasta, and we're creating a complete protein here in this vegetarian dish by combining the whole grain pasta with the garbanzo beans. So we have a complete protein there. And then for dessert, you know, a little chocolate on the amount of sugar that you're getting in this strawberry, the amount of added sugar is minimal. So, you know, it's not like you can never have something sweet, but just be careful and be aware. Or you could have something like this. Again, we have a complete protein with quinoa and garbanzos. We have lots of vegetables in this dish. And then this chocolate pudding on the side looks pretty darn good, doesn't it? Well, last month we made chocolate pot de creme. If you watched it, maybe you remember. If you didn't and you'd like to see it, you can go to my website. I post all of them. All of the videos that we do here at Hogue, I post them on my website under videos. This chocolate pot de creme came out delicious, and there was no added sugars. So there's an option for you. Or you could have something like this, you know, a nice salad, lots of vegetables, a piece of lean protein on top, and maybe some berries for dessert with some whipped coconut cream. Any of these would work for you and be easier to digest than the first meal that we were looking at. So now we've talked about things that we shouldn't eat. Let's talk about some things that we should. Is this how you feel? Do you feel that carbs are evil? By the way, if you have questions while we're going along, please go ahead and type them in the chat, and I'll answer the questions after the seminar or after the lecture. So, do you feel that carbs are evil? This poor guy did. He went on a low carbohydrate diet for a week and he lost 3 inches off of his smile. Oh, sadness. So, carbs are not the devil, as we already looked at. Whole complex carbohydrates are something you really do want in your diet, and they provide your body with fuel and a nice steady supply of energy, and they keep your blood sugar level. So you're not going to have that spike and crash. You're not going to have that fatigue. So what are complex carbohydrates? Grains, beans, vegetables, whole grains by the way. Beans, vegetables, fruits, nuts, and seeds. And the recommended percentage of daily calories, that the way you should have that allocation, 45 to 60% carbohydrates, 20 to 30% protein, and 20 to 30% fat. Okay? Again, any questions, type them into the chat. So you want to divide up your calories during the day, and you want it so you really would like to have your heavier meals earlier during the day so that you're not dealing with digestion when you go to sleep and tossing and turning from even a really good meal, healthy meal. If you eat too much and too late, it's still going to disrupt your sleep. What vitamins and minerals help us with our energy? B vitamins play a big part in helping us with our energy. It releases energy from the food we eat. And it's really easy to get our B vitamins from food. The only one, now if you're a vegan, and the only vitamin that you can't get from your food without eating animal products is B12. So these items here contain vitamin B, and eggs, dairy, fish, meat, lean proteins. And then we have seeds and nuts and whole grains, cruciferous vegetables, fruits, avocados, apples, bananas. All of these have vitamin B. So you can see, I mean, there's so many things that have vitamin B. You can see it's easy to get it in your food. Also, if you want to boost, brewer's yeast, nutritional yeast, and wheat germ are all high in vitamin B, in vitamin B complex. And nutritional yeast is typically supplemented with a B12. So quite a few times you'll see vegan recipes that call for nutritional yeast, and then that'll boost your B12. If you don't do anything like nutritional yeast or anything that contains B12, you might want to take a supplement for that. But be careful, because there are things that will affect your absorption of vitamin B complex. Alcohol, caffeine, and medications. All of those can affect your vitamin B absorption level. Not all medications, it depends. Then vitamin C, what does vitamin C do? It converts energy from the fat in our foods. So vitamin B helps release the energy, and vitamin C converts the energy from fat. And that's important. Men should get 90 milligrams a day, women 75 milligrams. It doesn't seem like a lot, does it? It's easy to do. You can get it in so many different foods, as we can see here. But be careful, because alcohol will affect the absorption. Smoking really destroys vitamin C, and so does cooking. High heat or cooking anything, any cooking of foods, lowers the vitamin C level. So that's not really the absorption thing, but that's just lowering the vitamin C. But high heat especially. So be careful when you're looking to increase your vitamin C by eating a certain item. If you cook it, you're not accomplishing that goal. So make sure you keep that in mind, so you have plenty of raw vitamin C items as well. And then iron. Iron's very important for our energy, isn't it? So recommended daily amount for women, premenopausal, 18 milligrams. For men and women, postmenopausal, 8 milligrams. And there's two types of iron. There's heme iron and there's non-heme iron. Heme iron, of course, comes from meat, things with blood. So all of these things with heme iron are easily absorbed. Non-heme iron, there's lots of iron in non-meat items as well. You can see we have beans and legumes, oatmeal, spinach, like Popeye, right? Raisins, chocolate, dark chocolate. All of these things have iron, and it's non-heme iron. As you can see in this chart, oatmeal has 14 milligrams per cup of iron, compared to 6 ounces of beef, which has 6 milligrams. The difference is the beef is easily absorbed. It doesn't need help. The oatmeal is not. So anything on this list that is not animal product is not going to be absorbed in the same way as a steak or oysters or tuna, etc. Okay, so what do we do about that? What we do, here's how we help for the iron absorption when we're talking about non-heme iron. Vitamin C. Vitamin C increases absorption of non-heme iron. So we have strawberries and citrus fruits showing here, but there are other things that have vitamin C as well. And on the left, we have spinach because, and let me go back to this slide, one of the things that affects the absorption of the iron in spinach are oxalates. And oxalates will diminish your absorption. So what you do with spinach is you cook it. I know that spinach salads are delicious, but the problem is, and they still have a lot of nutrients, but the problem is that you're getting the oxalates, and the oxalates will not allow the iron to be absorbed. So when you're having spinach, go ahead and cook it, and then save your salads for power greens, kale and chard and things like that. And you're going to get the spinach you're looking for, and still add some vitamin C to it. But the spinach, you want to cook it. Calcium can affect your absorption. Alcohol, and actually not alcohol. In this case, it's wine. And the same with, it's not caffeine, it's tea and coffee. Because what we're looking at here that affects the absorption of iron is tannins. And that's in wine and tea and coffee, okay? So just keep this in your back of your head about things that will affect the absorption of iron, especially when you're low on iron and you're trying to increase it. So what about supplements? I prefer to get my minerals and vitamins and nutrients through food. I don't take supplements unless sometimes I will take vitamin B12 depending on how I'm eating that day, that week. Sometimes I'll be eating vegan in a week, and then I do want to take B12. But for the most part, I stay away from supplements. If you can't get your nutrients through your food, talk to your doctor or a health coach and find out what nutrients, what supplements should you be taking, how can they help you, and how do they interact with your medications, okay? So there are things that are non-food energy increasers. One of those is water. So you want to stay hydrated, because when you stay hydrated, you're going to have more energy. Even very mild dehydration can cause fatigue. What happens when you're dehydrated is you get a drop in blood volume. And because there's a drop in blood volume, the heart works harder to push the oxygen and nutrients through the bloodstream. So that fatigues you. So when you stay hydrated, you're not dealing with that drop in blood volume. Any way you can do it. Sometimes people say they don't like to drink water. Okay, so put some cucumber or mint or a slice of orange in your water and let it sit so the water tastes better to you. Or drink herbal tea. That'll help you too. So just any way you can get that liquid into your system. Not any way, not wine. That doesn't work. Okay. Another thing you want to do is you want to exercise. And I'm not saying that you have to, work out like a banshee and go to the gym 7 days a week and lift weights, and all that would be great. But it's not necessary when you're trying to gain energy. What you want to do is move your body. Make sure you move your body daily. You can walk. Walking is great for increasing your energy level. And what it does is that when you move your body, your metabolism works better and everything in your system is working better. So exercise is important as well as the hydration. And then you want to watch your stress level. Some things we can control, some things we can't. There's a lot of stress in our life that we can't control. We can't control how much traffic is on the freeway. We can't control if we have a bad discussion, an argument with somebody. Well, that we can control somewhat. But you know what I'm saying. There are people that are more stressful than others. But there are things we can control. We can control how we react to the stress. So however works for you, if that's doing yoga or taking long walks in the park, taking deep breaths, meditating, whatever works for you to decrease your stress level and increase your serotonin. You want to decrease that cortisol, which comes from stress. Okay? So find something that can de-stress you and do it. Do it. Walking in the park is a great way for me to de-stress. Also, you know, some of the situations in your life that are stressful, if you have stressful situations, some of those things you can take care of and get those things out of your life. Okay? Basically, I want you to do your best, and that's all you can do. And try to track your energy levels for a week and see how you do. And then if you want to report back to me, let me know. I'd be interested to know what you found. So do you have any questions? And if you haven't typed them into the chat, you can type them into the chat now. If you have questions later, you can email me at 2life-2health@hotmail.com, and I'll be happy to help you with your questions. And it looks like I have one little question. What is your website address? My website address is www.2life-2health.com. And you know, there's a little space there in between 2 and health that on the screen. There is no space. So it's just www.2life-2health.com. No spaces. All right. If there aren't any other questions, then I will see you next week. Same time, same place, and we're going to make something delicious that will increase your energy level and keep you feeling energized. Okay? So thank you very much, and I'll see you next week.